Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Invincible, a great episode. So many great things went down. There's just so much to break down, so let's jump into it. First and foremost, obviously, Debbie and Nolan. Holy crap, I was like, okay, so where's this going to go? She's walking downstairs because I'm also scared for Debbie. I don't think she's going to get killed because, I've heard people's conversations about some of the stuff in the comic book. I think some of the stuff of where Debbie is now, I think she kind of gets here character-wise, who she is as a character later on, so I kind of knew she was at least alive. But it just made me nervous. I'm like, when you know that essentially your world's Superman, your husband is a murderer, and he's the literal most powerful being in the world, it's almost like killing you, a normal human, would be nothing, that I'm scared for her. It's still there, that fear. I'm like, oh, she's gonna be fine, but it's still kind of a thing of, we don't know what his plans is, but I don't think he plans on hurting Debbie or Mark. They're the two people in the world he would never want to hurt, but he might not have a choice, So, he's trying to explain to Debbie. It's almost like, okay, I've wanted to tell you for months, but the fact of the matter is, I just need you to trust me, because she's still trying to rationalize it. It's like, were you controlled by someone? What happened? And it's like, no, I killed them, but I need you to understand. She's like, you talking about you telling me you wanted to tell me months ago, but you're still not telling me now. So that means you're still lying. You're still not telling me everything. And you expect me to trust you? She's like, no, I don't trust you. Get out of my house. And the moment she was like, get out of my house, I was like, oh boy. And he's like, fine, we'll talk later. Boom, through the roof. And you have her calling up Mark, trying to be like, all right, Mark, can you? And it's like, his voice like, Mark, come home now. We need to talk. Boom. Cecil's people are there. Donald shows up. It's like, yo, Debbie, we gotta go. And it's like, dude, it's like, oh shit, it's hit the fan. Things are moving fast. Then you have Amber, William, and Mark trying to make things up to Amber. And I even love him being like, Amber, she shuts the door in his face. I love they didn't even do the title card thing. So I was like, okay. I was like, so what are you going to do, Mark? What are you going to do? He shows her the truth. He's like, hey, I'm a superhero. I'm invincible. That's why. Lame excuses. I even got this from Mars. And then he turns around. She's still packing. Even I'm like, oh. Because I was like, oh, I guess everything's good. And it's like, it's not. He's like, whoa. He's like, did you listen to anything? It's like, yeah, I've known for weeks that you're a superhero. I was like, oh, shit. And he's like, wait, then what are we arguing about? For her, it's like, because you lied to me. Which I can understand that. It's like, but for him, it's like, it's a secret identity. What do you want me to do? But for her, it's like, the fact is that you didn't trust me enough to tell me makes me feel like I'm not important enough to you. And it's like, that's what pissed her off. And I was like, truth be told is, and legitimately, she has every right to. Because even I'm like, you claim to care about her, so why haven't you told her the truth? Yeah, I guess it ranges from different superheroes. It took a couple, apples to oranges, obviously, but it's like, even using Smallville, for example, Lois had been in Clark's life for season 4, because that's when she first pops up. She learns Clark's secret in season 9. He doesn't tell her until the 10th and final season. So, regardless, so it showed you that much time has passed and stuff like that. Trying to give some relative example of it. So it's like, oh. And he takes off, so you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. And then later on, he's kind of all sulky with William and stuff like that, which William's like, yeah, if you had just come with us. And it's like, to help with Rick and stuff like that. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry, I'm a sucky best friend, and I'm terrible and worst boyfriend. He's like, I'm just a terrible superhero in general, because for him, it's like, I had everything and I messed it up. Because it's like, he always wanted to be the hero just like his dad. He's got a girlfriend, he messed things up with his best friend, and it's just like, for him, it's just like, he's basically sulking and it has a pity party for himself, because it's like, I can't do anything right, And it's like, Rick is like, yeah, you have been a shitty friend, and yeah, but you and Amber was right to dump you or something like that. He's like, dude, it's like, what? Best friends are supposed to tell you the truth like that. He's like, not like that. It's like, I just got dumped. It's like, dude, you got dumped weeks ago. You just didn't even realize it. You're like one of those guys that gets cut in half in a samurai movie, being like, oh, I'm totally fine. Like, oh my god, why is my bottom half of my body sliding away from me or something like that, and using his burger as an example of that too. That was a very because that's also like an example everyone can understand. It's like, oh, everyone can get behind and understand that metaphor he was going for there. And so like Mark just like ends up taking off. So it's like, yeah, understandable. Then at the same time, there's the whole situation with obviously Monster Girl being welcomed back to the Guardians of the Glow, celebrating stuff like that. I love it. It's like all these cartons of milk. It's like actually their beer, and it's like, yeah, all this milk Rex wasted by pouring it down the drain. But obviously Robot, glitching a little bit. But he's like, oh, that's going to be over with soon. So we finally find out what him and the Muellers have been up to. Basically, that thing we've seen, like, I thought that was him growing something, like trying to grow himself a new body, and then like maybe having the Muellers work on another angle of it to a certain extent. And it turns out that what we saw in the tube that, like, obviously Robot would bow down to, it's like, that's the real Robot, or wasn't the real name like Rudolph, I think is what he was saying. So that's the real him. And so yes, this entire thing has been him trying to make a new body for himself. Legitimately completely forgot about the aspect that the body was going to end up looking like Rex, because I was like, right, because it is made from Rex's DNA. I forgot about that angle. I was like, I don't know how I completely forgot about that. I guess it just didn't really register in my head. But the fact is that it's like, right, that's what he's all that he's been doing, which is also like, that's actually super messed up. You're supposed to be a hero and everything, and it's super selfish on your part to work with bad guys, to literally break bad guys out of prison. Well, it was two, and then one sacrificed the other, because it was like, I can make another clone later. So it's like, interesting. I mean, I guess that's why you chose the Mueller twins, because they know all about cloning and stuff like that. So I guess that's the whole point. But for him, it's like, yeah, I'm here defenseless. I need your help. And it's like, because for him, he's basically lived his entire life. For him, his entire life has been suffering. And it's like, this is what his life has kind of been mostly like. So, because I had wondered earlier on, like, maybe he's actually once upon a time, I was thinking kind of, the example I used was Cliff from Doom Patrol, that it was kind of something similar to that. Like, he was a human at one point in time, and now it's just like your brain in a robot body, and it seems like it wasn't fully the case. He's a body and a mind inside of a capsule controlling robots. So he's very smart, and basically has like a neural connection to like all the different robots that he's been controlling. So basically, it's not a mind transfer. They were copying his mind. So it's almost going to be a very similar circumstance. And I guess that's why, because they don't know how to completely bring over someone's consciousness. They just know how to copy it. So, hence their circumstances. So, of course, like, it wouldn't be a like one for one of like, oh, and transferring yourself over to this new body. It's like, this new body is the new a clone, a new consciousness. And obviously, when Rudolph kind of wakes up and it's like, hey, like, and, the OG is still alive. The new one's kind of like, hey, hey, we can both survive. But he's like, no, this is what I wanted. I just, want an end, so, go live life and stuff like that. Because, the Muellers had even asked, like, what sparked this? And he was like, I met someone who was like, I was wondering, I was catching that. I was like, are you falling? I wasn't sure what that was about, but it was like, yeah, you fell for Monster Girl, and to be with her, you need to be in it, because, you fell in love. And I was like, oh. So it's actually, it's kind of sweet, but at the same time, it is like, you did go about it the most roundabout, weird, and effed up way, so. But when it was all said and done, Rudy's supposed to be handing over some like schematics, but it's like, actually, I'm not going to. So yeah, you guys are going back to jail, which they were like, no. Then he proceeds to try and fight them, and it's like, you thought you could just stop us with two of your robots? It's like, I was trying not to hurt you. Okay, truck transform, turns into a giant robot, turns into a whole fight and everything. But then like the Guardians get called, which he just leaves them be, but eventually he has to explain all this, and Rex is like, why the hell do you look like a younger version of me? It's like, my child, he's like, you're ruining my childhood, and my childhood was already kind of jacked up. But then they all kind of piece it together. Well, he actually explains the whole thing. It's like, really? You did this? No one's consent? And it's like Monster Girl realizing like, oh, you did it for me. And it's like, wait, what? Yeah, it's like, so, because every time she uses her power, she gets younger and younger, and she can't really be with anyone her actual age, being 24, because to everyone else, she looks like a kid. So he was like, yeah, I want to help, with that, because obviously he fell for her. So it's like, hey, like, this way I can be with you because we're about the same age. And also, he's also saying, like, planning on helping her. I wonder, what does he mean by that? I wonder, was he planning on trying to repeat the process with her? Like, trying to, like, give her a new, like, they didn't really get that far in a conversation, but I guess that's kind of what he was kind of hinting at. So, that's a whole thing for her. She's like, yeah, we all need time to process that. And Rex is like, you think? So that's that. Then we get back to our boy Nolan, kind of out in the mountains, like, trying to explain everything to Mark, obviously trying to work out what to say, and he's just like, what am I doing? Goes home, Mark, Debbie, no one's there. And then the moment he turned around, and it's like, oh boy. And I was like, it hadn't quite happened yet, but like Cecil's guy, one of Cecil's people there was like, the moment it happened, I was like, oh, you poor bastard. I was like, oh, you poor bastard. And he proceeds to slaughter all of them. It's like, oh, God. I was like, that one poor bastard, like, Nolan had him against the counter, and they, like, pushed him, and the top half of his body slid against the counter. I was like, ugh. Another one, he shoved the gun right through his damn face, and I mean, literally through his face. I was like, oh, it reminded me, not even just like the Guardian situation, but also, it reminded me of season 2 of The Boys. Spoilers, The Cabin. I'll leave it at that if you haven't seen season 2. The Cabin. It's like the moment Homelander steps in your room, you're like, oh, you're dead. You're all dead. You poor bastards. It's that same feeling and sensation. And then you're like, oh, snap. That last person, too, that tried to run, she literally hit the, street. Her, I was like, wait, is her entire torso twisted? And it was like, yes. And she died. And then, because she was reaching for help, so he goes to the house next door. Donald and some other people are there. Nolan's going in, and Donald's like, Nolan, please wait. And he pulls out the gun, doing his thing, combat roll. I'm like, poor Donald. And it's just like, oh, God, what are you going to do? I was like, oh, he's about to get it. And he grabs Donald's back and is like, I guess about to rip his spine or something like that. And it's like, it's been an honor, sir. And it's like, Nolan's like, who are you talking? Donald hits the button. Hot house explodes. And Cecil's like, no, the honor was mine. And it's like, and it's like, well, that should knock him down for an hour or two. Or not a damn thing. And he takes off. I love it. Because at this point, it's like, epic. We gotta hit Nolan with the goddamn kitchen sink. So the fact of the matter is, it's like powering up the damn laser in the sky. And it's like, and Nolan being like, you wouldn't. I had to rewind it because I love the animation on what that looked like when the laser went, boom, and just exploded, like just the color and everything. I was like, that is sick. But it didn't do anything. Nolan takes off towards into space. I was like, dude, I was like, you guys aren't going to get a second shot off, are you? And I was actually super surprised they managed to get a second shot off, but then he proceeded to destroy the satellite. And it's like, and I love that line from Cecil, a $400 billion nosebleed is all that was. Holy shit. Because obviously, I skipped over, Debbie coming in, slapping the shit out of Cecil because it's like, you knew about this and you didn't say anything. It's like, well, he was like, yes, I'm sorry. We knew that he killed the Guardians. And it's like, I'm sorry, Debbie. But the fact of the matter is we've been trying to figure this out. She's like, wait, you're trying to find a way to kill Nolan. He's like, I don't even think we can. That's why there's only other one person that can potentially go toe-to-toe with him. And then Debbie's like, no. He's like, where's Mark? And then we get the title card. Dude. Also, I'm going to be mixing stuff up of when things happen, but, the Cecil teleporting thing, when he gets in front of Nolan afterwards, after the satellite thing, and it's like, whoa, Nolan, really? After everything we've been through, whoo, straight for the throat, huh? And just the constant teleporting around and stuff like that, it's like, whew. Especially the last time, that was super close. Cecil had teleported just in time, but then, we see that Nolan had his tie just as he teleported. It's like, whoo, that was super close. Nolan was throwing everything your way because it's like, the fact of the matter is, oh, you've had us, he's like, I'm a liar. I'm a liar. I'm good at lying. I'm really good at lying. But you, man, you've had us for 20 years. It's like, oh, does Mark know? Does Mark know that his father's alive? And it's like, well, what are you going to do? It's like, he's like, what I've been doing ever since I found out you're a lying piece of shit. Or something of that nature. it's like, okay, so throw Sinclair's robots at him. It's like, what are those are dead soldiers that can serve the country, like, one last time. Thanks because that monster over there, and Sinclair's still messed up from Mark slapping the shit out of him last episode. He's like, shut up. I feel sick even talking to you. Because obviously those things gave even obviously Mark a run for his money. It was interesting because even Nolan was having a tough time going toe to toe with those things, especially 3 at once. And it's like, yo, and those things are like trying to bite his face the entire time. But it's just like, because everyone's like watching all this stuff, especially when Nolan finishes and he rips them all apart. Like the people, Cecil's people are like almost vomiting because it's just like, oh my god. Even at one point in time, he grabs one of the nearby cameras and shoves it in one of the creature's guts. So it's like once again, it's like, dude, what did you do? Like, Superman's on a rampage. What do you do? Literally, the only heroes that potentially could have gone toe-to-toe with him did go toe-to-toe with him and all got slaughtered. So it's like, what do you do? And I keep saying that word because it's like, it is that. It's a slaughter. It's like a one-sided fight. It's like, yeah, he's getting roughed up, but it's like, yeah, oh, inconvenience. But I'm trucking along. Where's Mark? I think I skipped over it, but when he went to see William, I was like, ooh, William. He's like, And then he walks over to the car. He's like, oh. Kind of even love, like, Mark had said, like, yeah, Omni-Man. Omni-Man? It's like, my dad. He's like, Omni-Man, your dad. He's like, how did I never notice that? But then it's kind of like, where's Mark? Amber dumped him, and then, like, the roof is caving in a little bit. And William's getting super nervous. It's like, he probably went to see Eve. Her house is like out in the woods, like a couple 100 miles south. And then Nolan takes off. I was like, because he was like, whoa, why you look like you just came out of a fire, sir? Because this was like immediately after Donald blew up that house. But also it's like, wait, is that blood on you? And it's like, whew. Yeah, because that's the thing, too. Like, I meant to say these words, but it's like, the pretenses are gone. It's like, he knows that Cecil, at that, like, earlier in the episode, I meant to say, like, after he slaughtered everyone, it's like, oh, yeah, like, there's no pretenses anymore. So it's like, oh, so that means Cecil knows. So, fuck it. There's no point, like, pretending anymore, so. And then while, you have Eve, she's been doing her superhero thing. Obviously, her and Mark meet up, and obviously, it's like, oh, he's like, talks about the Amber dumping him and everything. And he's like, you're the one that told me I shouldn't tell her. It's like, yeah, but I also didn't tell you to string her along for like 5 months and be an asshole about it. And it's just like, yeah. Once again, it kind of makes it, it's like the thing of if you had just told her sooner, like, I think it's Mark not realizing, like, maybe I should look into myself and find out why I waited so long to tell her. Like, if I make it seem like she is so important to me, like, she would have been a lot more understanding. She would have been okay with it. She figured it out. She was just waiting for me to stop lying and telling her the truth. So for her, she knew things hadn't changed. It's just like, so that's interesting because that was more so her reaction. That's probably why she was even more pissed, because it's like, okay, I'm calling you a coward. What are you going to do? Are you going to tell? I'll do better. It was like, you're still not telling me the truth. You're still damn it lying. This would have been the perfect opportunity to show that you have changed by just not lying to me, that you are serious about there being an us and everything. Yes, he's conflicted about what he wants out of his life, who he is a little bit, but still. But he's also having a pity party of like, I'm kind of not sure if like the world would be better off without me. And Eve's like, okay, you're going to look back on life and kind of regret, like, yes, things might have not gone your way. Yes, you might have got dumped, blah, blah, blah. But it's also like, because it's like, I was like, oh, you're such an ass little, like, I get it, you're a teenager, you're just kind of like, oh, your world is collapsing around you, but it's also like, stop with the damn pity party, Mark. Yeah, you got dumped, we all get dumped. It's like, but for him, it's like, he feels like he's failing on all fronts, is kind of his thing. Because I guess just for him, it's like, right, like, he's like, I should have listened to my dad, like, I should just kind of given more into, like, the superhero thing, so they end up kind of taking off together. Like, for Eve, it's like, oh, good thing you're following me, but for him, it's like, no, I'm just making sure you're okay. And for her, it's like, okay, if you're just here to make sure I'm okay, and you're not even just going to do the damn superhero thing, just, it's just, because for her, it's like, she was about to say it, like, Mark sounding more and more like her damn dad, and that just pisses her off. She's not, at the very least, because she was like, I should probably call my mom. I haven't talked to her in a while, so I think, so obviously she's on a much better terms with her mom than she is her dad currently, especially after where he stands with everything. But regardless, tangents and all that aside, you had Cecil bringing down the final thing and being the Hail Mary, and it was a monster he fought in Japan. What was that episode, like 5? Was it? Or was that like, I think that was episode 4. The thing in Japan, it was like when Cecil and yeah, I believe that's the thing that, you know, not Cecil, but Nolan, Debbie went on vacation together, and this was the thing that was attacking in the background, and he was like, nah, leave it to Cecil and them to take care of. So they basically had this thing locked up. They basically juiced it with everything they got, and it's like, yep. And they're hoping, like, hey, maybe this will buy us enough time. I also love the Guardians of the Galaxy are figuring this out with the rest of the world. I'm like, oh, wait, Nolan destroyed that satellite. What's up with Omni-Man? It's like, oh, wait, did he just say we might be the last hope against Omni-Man? And it's like, yeah, he did. And it's like, huh. And Rex is like, well, we know what happened to the last hope against Omni-Man. And they stare at that bloodstained Cecil left there. So it's like, oh, boy. And I love that he's going toe-to-toe with, like, Nolan's going toe-to-toe with this monster. And it's like, oh, boy. At the same time, we have the Mueller thing, because it was like, right, they needed their contingency plan, right? It's to bring back the Immortal. It's like, yeah, that's why he's called the Immortal and everything. They just had to, like, get that collar, the schematics for the collar, because basically it's like a mind-controlling collar, and they try to use it on Immortal, and he comes back, and we get flashes of his life, you know? Which is kind of interesting. It's like, oh, so that is why he's called the Immortal, because he has been around for a very long time. I guess it just needs time, like, to put his body together, which is interesting. Like, I guess it did just take the right circumstances, because it's like, because they said, like, yeah, Cecil tried to bring him back, but one of the Mulder twins was like, yeah, Cecil's an idiot. So he comes back, because the last thing on his mind was Nolan, rages out, breaks the damn collar, and it's like, where's Omni-Man? He takes off to find. So while, like, Mark and his dad are working together, it's like, yeah, let's team up together, fight this thing, Dad. He's like, wait, Cecil sent it after you. Mark's probably like, he's like, wait, what? What's that? And then the Immortal comes, and him and Nolan go toe-to-toe. Oh, that shit is sick. Especially when, like, they punch and create a sonic boom. You're like, oh, that shit is epic. But then it's just like, Nolan saying, like, you should have stayed dead. It's like, you killed us, you betrayed us, because why? Like, because even Cecil had asked, like, why'd you do it? And he's like, you know, they helped you on more than an occasion. They helped, like, save you. He's like, no. He was like, they were weak. Like, for like him, it's just like, I guess for him, it's like, no, they're weaklings. Like, almost like saying, like, they're dead because they were weak. So it's like, that's, once again, we're scratching at it, but we're not getting to what the fuck are you doing, Nolan? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what has this all been for? And so when the time comes, like the world's watching everything go down, because everyone's like, the Immortal's supposed to have died, so someone who looks like him has popped up, and this is going out to the damn world. Everyone's seeing this, and then Nolan proceeds to punch a hole in him, but then, like, the Immortal, like, tries to gouge out his eyes. Nolan takes his other hand and slices him in half, and you're like, boy, guts, vitriol, and everything falling from the sky. And then his eyes are, like, super red and irritated from everything. And Mark looked at him like, Dad, and literally the entire world saw what he just did, and he's like, Mark, we need to talk. And it's like, I was like, okay. I misread the damn timer on the episode, and I was like, for whatever reason, when it went to credits and the thing popped up of like, oh yeah, like, hide the next thing, you know, for me, Undone ended up popping up. Which, side note, if you've never seen Undone, you really should. It's really, I don't know if they're doing, I need to look that up. I still haven't heard anything about them doing it. It's been like, what, a year or two, so I don't know, but it's like animated, so it could take a while, so I haven't looked into that, and I'll find out after this recording, and I'll probably be heartbroken because it's probably not getting a season 2. I hope it is. I hope I'm wrong. Once again, I'm saying this while recording this, having not looked anything up yet. Regardless, I went on a tangent. I was stupid for whatever reason. I looked and saw 58 seconds. I thought it said 10. I was like, no, guys, don't worry. There's like 10 more minutes in the episode. And then I paused and looked and it was like, oh no, it doesn't say 10 minutes and 58 seconds. It just says 58 seconds. I was like, fuck. I was like, okay, because I was like so disappointed at myself, and like partway through the episode I had stopped. I was like, it looks like there's only like 17 minutes left in the episode, but it didn't correlate in my head. But I was like, damn, dude. Come on. Dude, I'm so pumped for this. It's like, where is this going? Hope next episode we're getting answers. Because a lot of people who've read the comic book have pretty much I mean, even looking at the trailer, you kind of get a feeling where the season was going, what it was going to end with. The fact this episode is called We Need to Talk, I thought everything was going to happen this episode, which I was even like, whoa, you're doing all that in the penultimate episode? No. We're setting shit up in the penultimate episode. Finale is when we're going to drop all the damn bombs, all the revelations. What the hell is going on? I can't wait for that conversation. But the way Mark's looking at his dad, and once again, Cecil cracked a joke about it last episode about like, hey, he's more human than Viltrumite, because it's like, oh, they don't like go against their parents' wishes, and Nolan was like, no, and he's like, huh. The fact of the matter is he's a human teenage kid, and it's like, maybe that's more hope for us, because that means Mark won't 100% go with what Nolan wants. That's what worries Nolan so much, and that's why he's been stressed about having this conversation. Because like I said, it almost feels like this happened faster than he was expecting it. Like, he was probably almost hoping like Mark wouldn't get powers, because him getting them meant that like everything was going to change. So we'll see what Mark getting his powers, like what that meant, why that was such a significant moment for everything to change, for him to do what he did, kill the Guardian, set all this in motion. Regardless, I'm so excited for the damn season finale, because it's going to be wild to get revelations about this and see what exactly goes down. I am so pumped to see how the season wraps up. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.